All right, it is now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 119. So here's the standard intro. There is no updates on the red eviction front. And as usual, we're working towards the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. And during the day, I'm working on another long form video. Today, I once again continue to work on making one graphic that has a lot of details in it. And I guess I would say I'm maybe like 75% done that graphic. And then I guess it's it's probably worth it to put time to do it because I can just kind of zoom into it and pan around it for the rest of the video and maybe kind of center the video around that one graphic. So no ETI on that yet. I'll have to think about that once I get the graphic done, and then I'll think about the script a bit more. So for tonight, we're going to continue work on trying to get towards the next release of the terminal block mining simulation game. So I finished, I guess it was day 117. I finished the full support of the test cases and implementation for the fancy new merge function. That's a huge deal. And all the test cases are passing. Last night I swapped over and deleted any of the other remaining merge functions. So there's only I guess when I started this saga, what was it, almost 40 days ago, I had 6 different merge layers functions, and they all had like different quirks and stuff, and they were not like position independent and stuff. So that's all been consolidated into one gigantic merge function, which is actually kind of slow. Yeah, and so that's been swapped over, and I noticed a couple of bugs last night. So we're working on. Actually, I can delete that item. So now I guess we're just working on fix implementation as necessary. And I guess this will probably go up here more. Yeah, once it works, once it's back with like feature parity from what's already released, then I'll just run the profiler, and there might be some big wins. Speed it up, and then I guess after that, there's going to be no real new features. I might add a flag to part of this whole refactoring saga was now that that's done, it's probably pretty easy to just add a flag to that where I just like explicitly set wide characters. Or what I'll do is I'll probably just say like, you specify this flag, and any non-ASCII character, it'll just assume it's like either 2 or 3 columns wide, and then before it prints it, it'll pre-fill with spaces that have the same background color. And I think that will fix a number of like weird bugs and glitch terminals and stuff by just doing that one thing. I think it'll fix them, but I haven't had the game working well enough to actually test that. And if I can do that, then that'll probably make the compatibility very, very good. Yeah, so tonight we'll continue on with the bug fixes and regressions. Bubble Gamer Official says, hey, how's it going? Orthoplex 64 sends a wave. Yoshikaga Kira says hello. How's it going? The the username changes keep throwing me off. Yeah. I thought I remember seeing so that your name used to be Yoshikaga Kira, and then I thought it for a couple of days it would have I thought it was maybe like a hyphenated one. I don't know if there's more than 2 different name printing methods it uses. It's kind of disorienting. I wish they'd keep it the same. Okay, so game basically works. We still got that weird glitch with the extra character players not disappearing. But I think I did, and so there's this glitch. And then last night I tried doing that, and that didn't work. And so I fixed that. That was a pretty easy fix. So I think I know why that glitch with the menu happens. I think it's because I have there's an issue with how I specified. So the new layer merging works, but there's one case where I think it's a design flaw in it, and I think it's when if you're merging down onto an inactive layer, I think some of the content that's already in there, the act of merging stuff onto it can zero stuff out, which is not correct or not. So the test cases are testing for that, which is not correct, which is why they pass. And then I think there also might be another bug, which I'll make a test case. So I thought about it, and I think I might have a case where this is kind of like the simplest, most common case I didn't test for in these expansion tests. Speedrunning band says hello. How's it going? Do you remember me? I I maybe remember the username. There's still lots of... it doesn't help that YouTube also changes the usernames every couple of days. So it's like sometimes it uses the display name, sometimes it's like a short name or something. There's two different like names. How about you? I'm pretty good. I feel decent about the progress. I'm glad that I got through that. I got that layer merging feature working. I was at a point where I kind of wondered if it might be, if I might have a subtle bug, like sometimes you have an approach or an algorithm or something, and you write it, and then like you get it 95% done, and then you realize it has a major design flaw and it will never work. But fortunately, it worked. Vim is my favorite Linux command. It is. I really should have a video on Vim, to be honest. There's a bunch of really good commands I need a video on. But it's I'd like to make more of those, but they don't make any money. Why don't you use an IDE? I do use an IDE sometimes. I guess I kind of just pick and choose whatever tool is best for the job. How is this going to make you money? How much do you need for world domination? For world domination, I think the plan is to start off with about 12 billion. And as for this, eventually, once it works a bit better, I'm gonna maybe market it a bit better. I'm gonna sell some, get some sponsored custom block types. I've had some success in marketing those in the past. Do you think most jobs are useless to the world? I'm beginning to notice the pattern. You always ask one philosophical question every stream. Do I think most jobs are useless to the world? I don't really think so. That doesn't. I mean, they're useful to someone. It's too broad of a question to really answer in a good way. D. Marville says hello. How's it going? 12 billion is not enough. You need to dream bigger. Well, it has to be done in stages. You got to get some money first, and then when people see you spend it wisely, and you can do something with it, and you're not just going to scam it and steal it, then people will give you even more billions. Just believe you're wise. Oh, thank you. That's very flattering. Yeah, most jobs being useless to the world. I think there are definitely jobs that are kind of a waste. I think we've, from the 1950s, from 1940 to I don't know, 1990s, early 1990s, there was an enormous amount of productivity and structure and stuff like that. And I think we've kind of just become spoiled. People just the concept of a job has become a lot more abstract. So there's a lot of middle management and waste. If you think about how many people are part of a system that they think is helping society, but it's not. It's just kind of wasting time, or it's going in the wrong direction. And I think that's not sustainable. So eventually, that system will collapse. Disagree. Most jobs not useless. I think over time the useless ones will eventually someone will realize that they're kind of useless, and they'll go away. That's what I expected. What I suspected. So all along, I was expanding change regions more than necessary. What's your streaming schedule? I've always watched your content, but never attended a live stream. I guess I would say I haven't really. I have not deliberately established a stream schedule, but I've. Well, I guess I kind of have. I've just settled into around 10 o'clock. I try to, just before 10 o'clock my time, and then I usually go for 2.5 hours. Especially in a capitalist economy. Yeah, I think the more I think about capitalism, the more I'm convinced that it's it's not just a social or political ideology. It's an intrinsic thing. It's more than just a human thing. It's that's the self. Capitalism is a more special case of an optimizing process. That's more like physical than anything. Okay, so I've captured that failing test case. Yeah, EST or EDT gang. I think EST or like EDT, that's like observed for the part of the year when you're on daylight savings time, isn't it? All right, let's review the bug we're solving. So I thought, I looked into it. I think this bug is actually a combination of two bugs. One is related to the, I guess, design flaw. So the tests are passing now, and one behavior that I will need to change is I want to make it so that the way it works right now is if you merge changes onto a deactivated layer, and part of that region that you evaluate is in the deactive layer, the result output gets deleted because it's in an active if the bottom layer is inactive, it evaluates nothing and then places that same output of nothing back into itself. And the second bug is in the change region expansion. What it does is it tries to find the next character that it's cutting into. And I think the bug is anytime I do any write, it always expands the change. If there's a whole bunch of one space characters, it always expands to the leftmost edge. So if I removed either one of those, that would make this work. So to be, this change is, I think, relatively simple. So I think doing just that will actually fix it, but doing what I just did will break the test cases. So I'm going to fix the test cases. What would it take for you to consider going back to working 9 to 5? When was the last 9 to 5 you worked? The last actual 9 to 5, like standard, was 2013 when I worked at Amazon. So I guess it's been, yeah, but it's been 12 years now. All right, as you can see, it is now fixed. I don't think I would. I think the system, everything is just too broken in society. And I'm also too old. All right, that appears to be fixed. Now this is going to fail, as expected. $20.52. As expected, the active flag is not correct. Thanks for entertaining my questions. The exit command is my favorite Linux command. It's a good command. I guess technically it's like kind of not really even a command. It's like it's a built into the shell. Yeah, I mean, I think 9 to 5 is, some people are, like for me, there, earlier in my life, there was like, most people are totally okay to settle into that. For me, there was a period where I was like, you know, maybe I could do this, but it's still, I don't know, I remember when I was sitting in NVIDIA, like sitting in the cubicle, it felt like being a separate sensory deprivation tank, like hearing the only sounds are, you can hear some murmurs in a distant cubicle, and that's the people I worked behind, that guy I worked beside, who always like complained about his mundane day-to-day problems, and the sound of the air conditioning. It was it's all right for internships, but to settle into that for years, I would probably go nuts. And also just seeing the how the contrast between like how interns are treated versus how full-times are treated. Private cubicle, what a dream. Usually some dreadful noisy open office plan. Yeah, I've worked in those as well. I mean, honestly, like, I mean, it is nice in a sense to have that, like to be able to get work done in a cubicle, but still like the It's basically just like that for. It's only that. There's no. There's very little like. Interaction with other team members. I think even when I was there, we mostly did talked on chat, even though we were like physically beside each other. And not a lot of. There's a lot of like. Older team members who were kind of just. Checked out. They had. Like adult kids. There was another intern who was there when I started on the team. I'm not even sure. I don't even remember if I saw him, but I think he was like 2 cubicles away from me. And then I remember one of the people on my team at NVIDIA messaged me like, "Hey, did that intern leave?" I guess his internship ended and he left the company, and like nobody on the team noticed for like a week or two. So the change that I think needs to be made How do I do this without making the code insanely complicated? Are you listening to music? I find it impossible to just study or program. So listening to Bandcamp. Bandcamp. I've never even heard of that. Is that like Spotify? Huh, that's random. Both of you both asked questions about the headphones randomly at the same time. I just wanted to get feedback. It's like I guess on podcasts and stuff like that, people wear headphones to get the feedback to know what the audio looks like. But no, I don't listen to music while I'm streaming. If the music gets out of the stream, it'll get like content ID'd and then taken down. Pravuz says, what it is, gamers? I'm not sure. Spotify but better? Huh, neat. I had a subscription to Spotify many years ago, but I guess when I wanted to listen to music, usually I just open up YouTube. Let's do it in a tab. How did you get the idea for this game? It's just an idea that's been sitting in the back of my head for a while. I decided, based on my past 10 years of consulting experience, trying to write software for someone else, I decided, you know what, if I'm such a good software developer, I should be able to write my own piece of software and sell that. I think it's kind of an insane idea, but I've come to the conclusion that it's less insane than trying to do what I was doing before. And I think the modern success model is actually to fund the initial development is to make money find ways to make money on the process of making things rather than actually making them. So in direct sales from this game, I don't. There's like basically nothing, because there's really nothing there at the moment. But with the streams, I think there's probably, I'd have to go back and check, but it's probably like $2,500 or so of revenue from super chats since the start of this 100-day series. And this was also just an experiment to see like what would the numbers be? Would people show up to streams, do I get super chat revenues? Like what would it, is this chat revenue going to go to 0 and then stay at 0 for like, a month or something, or will it grow? And I don't know, it's interesting. It kind of ebbs and flows. There's a few, so there's like lulls where it seems like there's not much traffic, and it's like, the benefit of this is questionable. But then other days are like super good, and it's like, $200 worth of revenue. So it's also a lot of modern success in software business is more about marketing than anything. So streaming is also a form of marketing. So because people come in and say, "What are you doing?" and some of them get interested in the long-term story. There's people who come in are like, "Hey, I was here on day 40 and now it's day 100, and things have changed." Neat. Question about monetization being off. When to turn monetization on, when I turn monetization on, I did have it on, but you have to declare, like, I declare that nothing in this video violates the community guidelines. It's like advertiser friendly and stuff. And if I say there's nothing offensive in this, and then later if YouTube finds something offensive and they say it's not it's not eligible for monetization, then they start to trust my declarations less, and I think that probably hurts ad revenue. And like, if I very much do not want to get on YouTube's bad side for monetization, and also for the streams. I had it on for a while, and the ad revenue from streams is almost nothing. And I think if I was going to try to make, I think that the standard way, because like in chat, people can spam stuff in chat, and like, I don't know, if it's something YouTube doesn't like, then I can get demonetized for, something I can't. Someone starts spamming swear words or something. There's moderation, but that it's not real time, and I don't know. I've just never seen, like, it's only a few cents per stream or something, whereas a good day for like super chats and memberships and stuff would be like maybe $100 or something. So it just doesn't make sense from a money perspective. But it could make sense to do clipping. So like take out certain clips and then maybe make those into something, which is on the to-do list, but I'm working through too many other things at the moment. Is it a big lift to get it in stream? Is it a big lift to get it on Steam? I don't know anything about Steam, actually. So that's not something I'm thinking about at all at the moment. But I guess if the concept was successful enough, then I could consider that. For now, I'm just considering it more so along the lines of all the other like terminal-based stuff. Like, I have blog posts about how to do stuff on the terminal and Linux and all that kind of stuff, algorithms. So I think a game is something that's a bit more monetizable than blog posts about algorithms. And I was teaching for a while at a local college, which I think is higher education is going to be totally transformed in significant ways. And so I think I think younger people are going to look more to like social media to learn everything in the future. A wild Brad has appeared. How's it going? You pay $100 to put your game on Steam, whether it's free or not. And also Steam takes 30%. Yeah, if there was a lot of if there was a lot of what do you call it, community build, if there's a lot of pent-up demand for it, then it could make sense to do so. I have no idea. I've never researched it at all. I'm sure there's like restrictions and stuff. Like, I don't know how multiplayer would work, or if like like presumably they would have to have stuff that prevents people from uploading like malware instead of games or something. So there's probably some kind of safety checks and stuff, which would be, I'm sure there'd be about like development changes that would be necessary to do. And at the moment, it's not worth my time to even think about it. Sup, Robbie? How's your day? Not too bad. How are you? Dealing with archaic MySQL to newer MySQL compatibility for past 2 days. Nice. Yeah, MySQL has a lot of weird inconsistencies. It's kind of like MySQL is it's an older technology, so most of its design decisions, like there's a ton of problems with like Unicode compatibility and stuff, if I remember correctly. Yep. You should just tell whoever you're doing work for to use Postgres instead. I'm the boss and considering it. Just don't want to rewrite over 2,000 lines. Yeah, I would assume that that's the constraint. Why doesn't that work? Right, that's the first step. Nice, that works. wish I knew that before spending 2 days with pointless workarounds. Execute scalar doesn't exist in earlier versions. There's from what I recall, there's a bunch of actually, you know what? Now that I think of it, this might even be something in the Java SQL. What was it? It was there was something to do with when you're getting members. If you're getting like literal members, if you're like returning a result set and you iterate over it, I think it would return 0. So if the record had 0 in it, it would, and you said get the record, like get the integer. If the actual literal was 0, it would give you 0. But if it was null, it would also give you 0. But so you had to check a second thing. You'd have to like call this is null member, and that existed for every data type, where it would not populate your object with null. You'd have to explicitly call a function to say is it actually null and not 0. I think that might even be something to do with the Java JDBC thing or something. It's all kinds of weird gotchas. You would think, given how important databases are, that this stuff would be better figured out, but standardized. But nope, we have AI now, but we can still barely read and write data from a database. All right, excellent. That tests for what I want. Are you configuring the MD5 hash on the combob later? Now MD5 hash, that's a weak hash function. I use the SHA-256 hash function. Oh, just arrived here. What are we doing? We are currently working on some test cases and bug fixing some of the remaining bugs in my terminal block mining simulation game. So I just implemented some new features to I just spent the last few weeks working on some changes to merge together screen layers. So in the user interface, there's different like layers of text, potentially multi-column characters on the terminal. I have to merge it all together, and there's tons of bugs and tons of cases, and I'm coming to the conclusion of that. SHA equals shat JK. I don't really know what that means. You don't like the SHA hash function or the SHA family of hash functions? Making everything in Java. Yes. I love how you can say shat but not YouTube be tripping. Actually, in observing what gets censored the most, I find that's actually been kind of revealing. Noticing what people complain about censorship for. It's almost always not swear words. The most common thing is when someone makes a joke about a conspiracy theory. So if someone makes like a joke about contrails or something, then that'll get censored. Or if someone makes a joke about like an actual conspiracy in the government, that'll get censored. But yeah, I guess some like really bad spamming. Actually, come to think of it, there have been like some people just come and spam one like, racial slur or something. They'll just spam that like 50 times and then I have to manually ban them. But don't say anything about the Federal Reserve because that'll get censored. And I remember when the Iran stuff was going crazy, someone said something about like what was going on over there during the day, and that stuff was getting censored. Jet fuel doesn't melt steel. Yeah, things like that. It worked. So did something you say get censored? SHA's cool, but a lot of people will be in trouble at the same time when SHA fails. You mean SHA 1 or SHA 2? Or SHA 3? But there's a SHA 3 now, isn't there? Let's see. right, that is looking good. Right, let's fix this expansion test. SHA-FAM, SHA-3 is way better, but same problem. Is there a vulnerability in SHA-3 that you know of? Saw a video today of someone explaining SHA-3 and how nice it is that we have it is an alternative in case SHA-2 gets broken. But he never hinted at just using both at the same time. I think that makes sense. I think you could. I guess if you needed, I would think that if you needed if you need something really secure, then you could use multiple at once. But I guess the issue is that if you're like it's something like Git, you would have to currently Git only has one. I think it's still Git still uses SHA-1, doesn't it? Which is known to be broken. I remember that was a thing for a while after they found the first hash collision of SHA-1. There was a kind of a panic about Git's SHA. I think if you did a Git commit, they gave example files, and if you did a Git commit with these two PDFs, it would like break Git. Query executed successfully. Rows affected -1. Rows affected -1. Is that good? I don't recall ever seeing that before. I'm all about Poseidon. You said it. SHA-3 is just a fallback for when the others fail. When I did my my videos on I did a video on each of the SHA-256, what is it, 224 in each of them. And I guess it depends if there is a weakness discovered in, say, like SHA-256. It depends on the nature of what the vulnerability is. Like if it's something with the initialization values, which are just like some hard-coded things that started off, then it is possible, even the shorter SHA-224 could potentially still be strong. And I tried to Google for like why does it even exist, the SHA-224, and that was one of the proposed things. It's like it has different initialization values, so theoretically, if some weakness is discovered related to the initialization values of the other one, there's a backup set available. I'm all about Poseidon. I'm not even familiar with that. That's a hash function, I guess. Why can't I do that? In all honesty, one of the tinfoil hats that say Shah is shite. But it's them people who would be more safe after Shah fails. The number of games doesn't mean the same as it did 10 years ago. I don't know. I think there are people that talk about, our like you say, tinfoil hats about the integrity of hash functions and worry about it being backdoored and stuff. But honestly, I think if someone really cares about if you really care a lot about this, being ultra secure against the NSA and stuff like that, it's probably not a good idea to go on the internet and publicly talk about how you're paranoid about weaknesses in a cryptographic hash function. Because I would assume that there's the number of people who are concerned about the integrity of their hash function is very small, and the set of people who are super interested in that is probably the exact set of people that the NSA actually is interested in taking a look at. And then at that point, I think that the hash functions are the least of your problems. But it's fun to think about, though. If I had more time to waste, I wouldn't mind getting more into like number theory and crypto. right, that actually works. It runs. Let's see what the test cases do. Shaw's fine for most people, but if you want to protect your data from people taking your encrypted now, yeah, not something I think about a lot about. 5-hour limit reached on cloud. Yeah, that's one of the issues with these AIs. Is sometimes you get, like, it starts to feel like a really useful tool, like almost like a search engine, but on Google you can just keep running Google queries. But the AI queries, like the complexity of them and the resources required, it just increases like astronomically. But like sometimes it's worth it to like ask the AI like 100 more times, 100 different ways to get a better result. But then that's just like, it wastes probably so much electricity. I have a local uncensored LLM, but not as nearly as good as cloud. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, nobody wants to use the second best AI. That's garbage. Just use the best one. If you're going to waste your time writing a query. I guess it might be good for certain stuff where it doesn't need to be the best answer. But if you're like asking it for a piece of code, why would you want the second best answer? So I guess that change works on everything except for the problematic one. I love how they can build advanced AI, but can't put a simple IP block function. Switches Google OAuth. So you're able to avoid the 5-hour limit. Is that with like a second account or something? Or are you on a paid account? Just by switching account? Oh, free? Yeah, I don't know. I guess maybe they'll, if it gets really bad, maybe they'll ban you. I would have to imagine that kind of AI stuff is getting abused like crazy now. Like there's probably foreign adversaries setting up like thousands of accounts and spamming it to do like as like a helper function for scraping tasks. Often many users share an IP address. I think nowadays they use like browser and fingerprint information. I think all browsers themselves, although Chrome is the main one, has included like so many. It just basically includes. It just tells everything about your hardware. I think WebRTC and all that kind of, you can query all that kind of stuff, so you can just use that instead, because like nobody on the internet has your exact version of your operating system and your exact version of Chrome at a specific time. QUIC. Maybe that's used in there somewhere. This is my favorite YouTube channel. Excellent. That's very kind of you to say that. That's my favorite chat message. Nice. The tests all passed. All right, so I'm now expanding regions correctly. Now I have to rerun the tests because possibly there will be new failures, but hopefully it should not change anything. Oh boy, here it goes. Nice. No failures. Fun fact, I'm usually listening to music to help me code. When I see Rob stream, Rob is better music. Excellent. Yeah, I'm already coding, so it's better coding vibes. Right, let's run all the tests now. I want to keep this test case long, just because there's so many cases. And if I let regressions get in, it's going to be a nightmare to fix. Test passed. Now let's see if that improved performance at all. That meant that before it was like it was rendering way more of the screen than it needed to. That was not too bad. I think that did improve it a bit. Let's try something. Now, if that weird bug with the disappearing help menu goes away, that means that that was also because of that expansion bug. Yep. All right, that fixed 2 significant bugs. All right, so the layer merging is looking good. There are two bugs. Let me write this down before I forget. MySQL has drained me of energy. Gonna have some lunch and a rest. Have a great day. Night for you. Talk to you later. Have a good day. Now this thing is a weird bug. I just realized there's no way. There's no way to clear it. There's no way to clear the layer below through a merge operation. That's why the characters are staying there. I guess the better way. I'll make this not possible. Interesting. That explains the weird colors. All right, that's good. So the two remaining bugs are actually the same bug. Oh, it's hard in the eyes. think I'll probably leave it here for tonight. I guess the only one thing that I realized I hadn't really thought about is if there's what I'm doing is using if there's an area of the screen layer that's where the character sits to null, that basically represents nothing, and I can basically I can make like now with the model I can make, like for example with the character itself, I can make a screen layer that's not the size of the entire screen. It'll just be one player, one tiny cell wide, or like however wide that is. And then instead of it merging down an entire terminal wide screen, I can have like a 1x1 layer, and then I only evaluate the position where it was and the position where it's going. But when I have those nulls, there's no way to merge down something that clears it to null. So that's the only omission. And I just noticed that in the old model, I did allow for that. That's not supported any longer. So maybe tomorrow I'll have to add a function that's like, it'll be slow, but I won't use it much, which is just like clear the whole layer or something. Or maybe like clear a subregion or something. And then this thing will be changed. So every time the player is evaluated, I'll have a function to just update the position offset of the player character. And that should get rid of the duplication, and it should also have much better performance, because it's not going to reevaluate the entire screen. All right, that's it for tonight. We'll be back tomorrow for day 120. Later.